Hi cheese fans, so today I've got probably Spain's most famous cheese, and it is of course Manchego. Manchego is a sheep's milk cheese that comes from the La Mancha region in Spain, which is just south of Madrid. It's a very arid, dry region. In fact, the name La Mancha apparently comes from an Arabic phrase meaning land without water, and it comes from the milk of the Manchega sheep. It does have a PDO. It must come from the milk of sheep in this region. If you are watching in the US, you might be going, hang on, Manchego's a Mexican cheese. So the Spanish did take cheese making to Mexico, and they also took the name Manchego with them, which became a term that was just applied to cheese. So you do get a Mexican Manchego, which is made from cow's milk. So it's a completely different cheese. It has caused, I think, some problems as Mexico have tried to expand their trade into Europe, but that's another story. So Manchego, it is a cheese that's made sometimes, like Lancashire, which is a cheese made in my home county, from the milk of more than one day. You'll often get it served as tapas, so it's usually served in these little triangles as a tapas. So I've got lots of tapasy stuff to go with it. I've made some pan con tomate, I've got some olives, I've got some, I've got Spanish rioja, a white rioja, I've got some smoked alioli, and I've got this smoked olive oil. But so I've kind of gone Spanish, but Manchego is a cheese that plays nice, so you can have it with all this kind of fruity taste like apples, pears, cherries, figs. So I've got some fig. But obviously the Spanish have those kind of fig and almond sort of cakes that they eat with cheese. So it used to be made, Manchego always has this very distinctive pattern on the rind. And it used to be made in baskets. So the pattern initially came from the basket, and obviously the basket allowed the whey to leave the container very easily. Now it's made in plastic containers, so they have the pattern of the basket on the outside of the container, and then obviously the curds are pressed into the container. It's a cheese that's sold at different stages of maturation, usually not younger than 2 months, and then from 2 months onward they would start to sort of scuff the mould from the cheese rind and then rub olive oil in to keep the cheese nice and moist throughout, and obviously that changes the flavour as does the maturation process. So okay, it's time for the tasting. So smell first. Now some people say that Manchego smells of roast lamb, which I don't eat roast lamb, so I don't know. To me it does have a kind of, it is really unique because it's kind of fresh and tangy, but also kind of smooth and buttery at the same time. Hence it having the ability to sort of play nice with lots of food. On sight, it's a very, very pale yellow. This is quite a mature one. Younger ones wouldn't be as dark. It's kind of crumbly, but also soft at the same time. It's not a cheese that melts well. It's a cheese that cuts into these little tapas triangles really well. So, it's really nice, and it does have this kind of, you can sort of taste this olive oil from it, but it's also sort of zesty and nutty at the same time. If you can imagine eating this cheese as sort of outside a bar in Spain where the cheese starts to sweat a little bit in the sunshine, it's a cheese that really does sort of suit being eaten outdoors, and it does have this kind of fresh summer taste to it, but also this lovely comforting taste to it at the same time. So this one actually is from M&S, and I'm usually less impressed with M&S cheeses, but I want to try and get ones that you can get too, although the next cheese I've got maybe not so much, because I usually find that M&S seem to sell them a little bit underripe, or cheese is a natural food. It's not going to taste the same all the time unless you're buying something that's really like mass produced and pasteurized and with milk from all over the place. It should taste different. It should taste of the region. It should taste different depending on the stage of maturation it's at. And I think Marks and Spencer's like things to taste the same, whichever branch of Marks and Spencer's you go into. So sometimes I can be a bit disappointed with the cheeses, but this one is really good. A really good cheese. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll be back soon with more cheeses. Bye.